back in December of 2014. I had terrible stomach pains. I went to see my local doctors, and they sent me for various tests. I had an ultrasound, I had a CAT scan, I had an endoscopy, all of which confirmed that I had pancreatic cancer.
In December 2016, I took what I thought was going to be my last colonoscopy, only to learn that I had stage 3 colon cancer.
I'm a cancer survivor of about 2.5 years now, breast cancer. And I'm a PAP member. I am also a Sylvester patient.
I joined the PAP Corps at Boca Point 18 years ago. It was a new chapter, and I felt like I wanted to give back. I never believed that I would actually need the services of Sylvester or the PAP Corps, but boy, was I mistaken.
We decided to get involved with PAP because although we've been fortunate not having any family members associated with cancer prior to myself, we've had lots of friends and colleagues die of this horrible disease. We learned in our role here, in terms of just learning about PAP, we learned of Sylvester and the fantastic complexity of cancer research.
We moved to a retirement community about 15 years ago, which is where I live now. And that's where I found out about PAP, the PAP Corps. I had never even heard of it before. But when I came there were multiple organizations, as a lot of people know when you move into a retirement-type community. There are different types of organizations, and one of them was PAP, and it just kind of interested me because obviously it was all about cancer research and cancer prevention and help in any way with people who were either having issues at the time or people that were survivors. And I thought that was interesting to me. That was the one thing that kind of, caught my eye. So I did join PAP, but who knew that one day that might have the biggest impact on your life that it could possibly have. And I think that's the part that really, really surprised me and pleased me and helped me. One of the things that helped me the most. It really did.
So once I was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, I was already a member of the executive board, and all the people that I met on the board became family to me. I don't have any real family except for Bob Schwartz, my significant other, and it was very warm and very, very helpful to know that there were people who were caring about me. So my own personal friends and my Sylvester friends and my PAP Corps friends all took very good care of me.
I just never really realized and knew the impact it would have on my family, on myself personally. I remember the day that I found out. It hit me, obviously, very, very hard. My husband, yeah. And I would have expected that. Yeah, I get that. My friend, she was there. She was good. She had been through breast cancer, so she was a big help to me. She knew exactly, she knew when to back away from me and when to lean in.
I was very lucky. I had terrific family support. The chemo treatments were easy for me, and I've two things in terms of my personal life is I'm a psychologist, so I know the importance of attitude, and I just made up my mind right from the beginning I was going to kick this thing, and I still feel that way. Throughout it, I've really been very, very blessed to have the lady at my left sharing my life. Thank you, sweetie.
You're welcome. And I didn't really know what to do, to be honest, and I called a friend who kind of guided me through this, and the first thing I needed to do was call my liaison through my particular chapter, and that person would then call down to Sylvester and get me in there hopefully in a reasonable amount of time and get everything taken care of. So I did, and I called my liaison. And this woman was wonderful. I didn't even know I didn't know her. We didn't know each other. She was wonderful.
the stage 3 diagnosis was stunning for us, and took us off kilter a little bit. But Joel has a very, very good attitude, probably better than mine, at least in the beginning. I'm the one who worries and the one who looks up every little detail. But overall, we knew that once the diagnosis was made, that we would immediately have the expertise and the people at Sylvester to support us and help us.
I couldn't believe the diagnosis. I called Barbara Pissell, one of our liaisons between the PAP Corps and Sylvester, and I told her my story. Within an hour, Sylvester called back and had arranged for me to see a surgeon. We set a date for the surgery, and he went about that date taking out a lot of organs, including 60% of my pancreas. I followed up with chemotherapy at Sylvester Deerfield. My doctor there was Dr. Matani. She did a great job keeping me going. It was a tough chemotherapy.
We made our appointment at Sylvester, and from the very beginning, our first contact with the teams at Sylvester was comforting, it was supportive. Dr. Hussein, Joel said very frankly, what if I don't have, what happens if I don't go for my chemo? And the percentages, because it's stage 3 cancer, were not as good as we were hoping they would be, but Joel was in great shape, and when we talked to the doctor, he said, I would have it done. I would go if I were you, I would have done it. So we did, and from that point on, we put our hands and our faith and our confidence in the Sylvester treating the doctors and their teams.
When I was diagnosed, I knew that PAP would be behind me all the way, along with Sylvester. Sylvester was the place that I went to for all the medical help. I traveled between Deerfield, Sylvester, and Sylvester in Miami, and I had various tests. I had various little surgeries along the way, all of which brought me to where I am today.
Putting my trust in Sylvester and their team of professionals and their support team made me feel safe. I knew that no matter what, everything was going to be okay. It truly was.
I had a CAT scan recently, and so far so good. The results were negative. I'm planning on a January colonoscopy, and I'm told if I behave myself and it looks good, I don't have to have another colonoscopy for 3 years. And that leads me to one of my passions. I will be participating in this year's DCC. I did it a couple of years ago. I had a great time. I was unable to do it last year because I was just coming out of surgery, but I'm really looking forward to this year's DCC.
Survival rate for pancreatic cancer is very, very small. And so it's always like waiting for the other shoe to drop. And last week, I had another CAT scan, and on Friday, the results came back. There was a spot. So I had an endoscopy, and I'm okay. So I want to thank Sylvester. I want to thank the PAP Corps for giving me the ability to stay alive for these last 2.5 years.
If I could walk away and just say, this is what I've come out of this whole thing with, what would it be? What would be the answer? And I had to think about it for a minute or two. And then I said, I think I have the answer. And I said, this was the worst thing that ever happened to me in my entire life. However, this was the best thing that ever happened to me in my entire life.
The PAP Corps, Champions for Cancer Research, was formed in 1952 by a small group of courageous cancer cure activists driven by the lack of early detection and treatment of cancer. These women formed a group whose single goal was to raise money for cancer research. In 1961, Dr. George Papanicolaou, a pioneer in early cancer detection, was invited to Miami to lead and develop the institute, which was renamed the Papanicolaou Cancer Research Institute in 1962. The cancer activists formally became the Papanicolaou Women's Corps and are now known as the PAP Corps, Champions for Cancer Research. When Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center opened at the University of Miami Medical School in 1992, the Papanicolaou laboratories were already located at the medical school campus. Throughout all of the growth, the PAP Corps has been there raising funds for all types of cancer research and saving lives, an effort that has successfully continued to this day. And now the PAP Corps has grown to over 20,000 women and men across 53 chapters throughout South Florida. True to its origin, the PAP Corps remains a grassroots organization, with its chapters hosting over 450 fundraising events annually to raise funds for Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center research programs, the only university-based cancer center in South Florida.
The PAP Corps' diligent work has enabled us to recruit incredible researchers from leading institutions around the nation. Over the past 5 years, 110 physicians and scientists have joined us in our mission to eradicate cancer. The potential impact of the PAP Corps' ongoing support for patients is enormous, as researchers will be able to develop novel therapies that can potentially lead to cures and personalized treatments for each patient. We could not be more thankful for the PAP Corps' generosity. Their dedication to Sylvester is inspiring and will always be remembered as one of the first to help shape the growth of our cancer center.
The PAP Corps has donated more than $110 million to Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center, including a historic $50 million pledge in 2016 dedicating the PAP Corps campus at Sylvester at Deerfield Beach. PAP Corps funds support research efforts and help recruit world-renowned researchers and physicians. Contributions from the PAP Corps has directly supported Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center's core research programs: cancer control, tumor biology, cancer epigenetics. In addition, PAP Corps contributions have directly impacted the establishment of the PAP Corps Endowed Professorship in Leukemia at Sylvester. Dr. Krishna Kamanduri's Adult Stem Cell Transplant Program benefited from the Dr. Kevin Berkowitz Year-End Memorial Initiative. They have also provided matching gifts of $400,000 to the Community Foundation of Broward County to fund a new precision medicine trial in Broward and Palm Beach counties, testing patients with late-stage cancer.
Our comprehensive diagnostics, coupled with teams of experts who specialize in distinct types of cancer, enable us to better understand each patient's cancer and develop treatments that target the cancer cells without affecting the normal cells. This leads to better outcomes. At Sylvester, patients have access to more treatment options, including more clinical trials, than most hospitals in the Southeast United States. We are the only cancer center in South Florida offering Phase 1 trials. Thank you, PAP Corps, for your contributions, enthusiasm, and your continued commitment to our mission as a world-class cancer center.
The PAP Corps Champions for Cancer Research is incredibly grateful to our courageous and selfless volunteers who make us what we are today. With your donations, the PAP Corps is and will always remain committed to creating a world without cancer. Please help us research our goal to support the researchers at Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center as they continue their efforts to create more effective cancer treatments that save lives. The PAP Corps, celebrating over 65 years of fundraising excellence. Donate today. www.thepapcorps.org